They call them smartphones, but I don't think so. Welcome, everybody, back to Rock and Recovery, where we talk about how addiction affects us and how we do recover. As you can see, I've got a guest. I hope I pronounce his last name like the coffee, Scott
Yep.
Mocha.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how everything that's going on and what you're addict and then back to normal life, normal life.
Yeah, normal life for me was anything but normal.
Yeah.
So you got my name, Scott Mocha, just like the coffee, and I have been clean for almost 21 years. November 6th will
Wow.
be 21 years, and actually 21 years ago, I had a massive overdose. Well, it's funny. I feel like I'm talking to people here that probably know the drug world a little bit. So to be fair, I don't really know if it was an overdose. I was by myself. I woke up and I'd bitten the end of my tongue off and had cut myself up pretty bad with a knife. I was messed up on kind of a fill in the blank kind of bender. It was a 5-day meth, coke, ecstasy, all the good stuff, man.
Mm.
And it had just quit working, and kind of had one of those, we call it a come to Jesus moment where I'm from. And just really felt like my life was falling apart, and sat down at the computer and tried to do a line of cocaine off of the keyboard. And the next thing you know, I woke up, couldn't feel my face. I had blood all over me, and I had no
Wow.
idea what had happened. So I kind of like look down and I see my dogs who are laying on me, and they look all concerned. I'm on the floor in my house and the furniture's all toppled over. I'm like, did I get in a fight? I have
Right.
no idea what happened here. And try to find my way to the bathroom, and there's like handprints of blood on the wall. I mean, it's about as
Wow.
dark of a scene as you could imagine.
Mm.
And look in the mirror, and I get to see what 10 years of mild bad choices had done to my life, because it didn't feel like I was that far gone. But then you have that moment of clarity where you look in the mirror and it's like, holy crap, where have I come from, or where have I come to? What have I done? So I made this decision, which I think made a lot of sense then, and it's hilarious to say it now, but I decided I was going to get off the coke and the meth, and I was going to smoke as much weed as I could to get through the withdrawal.
The funny thing is, I was also a meth addict,
Okay.
over 20 years meth addict. I've been clean for almost a year and a half now.
Good for you, man.
And, sorry. But yeah, and the funny thing, it really is funny that we do look at ourselves like, geez, I've come that far,
Mhm.
but then you'll be walking down the street and you'll see somebody on the downers, and it's like, oh, at least I'm not that person. At least I haven't got there yet, and the judgment as an addict that we gave other addicts is crazy, because all of us are really just messed up, and
Well, isn't that kind of the thing this is the thing I'm wrestling with right now. It's like when I judge somebody else, especially when I have a big judgment against them, it's usually something about me
yeah,
that I've kind of learned to either hate or learn to push away. And I see it in them and I'm like, oh man, they suck. And the
yeah,
reality is it's just something I'm wrestling with. And
yeah.
the more I come to terms with that, the nicer human I can be, but I don't always succeed that way.
We're still all works in progress. None of us are ever going to make it out of here perfect. Let's face it. None of us,
Yeah.
and we've all got flaws, and that's what makes us individuals, though. That's what makes us all unique. And we can be nicer. We can be nicer as people. We don't have to hurt people. Hurt people do not have to hurt people. Change people do change people, whether it's for the good or for the bad, but we don't have to hurt people.
That's wisdom, man. I appreciate it. And I've had to figure some of that out myself. It was I know that when I was using, I was in my own words, I was a chameleon. I was a liar. I lied about everything under the sun, and I was always trying to be what other people wanted me to be instead of who I actually was. And I was so unaware of that, because I thought I was ahead of the game, right? I know what you expect of me, so I'm going to be that person. And then I get to the next person, I'm going, oh, I know what they want too, so I'm going to be like
Yeah,
it,
yeah. You know,
And I'm so being so inauthentic and not true to who I am. Nobody even I didn't even know who I was, you
right.
know. So it was really in that moment when well, I skipped a step. So I smoked as much weed as I could to get over the meth and the coke, and made it 7 or 6 days, and thought I was about to die, literally. And somebody took me to a church, not a normal church. Not much of a church guy. Definitely wasn't then. They took me in, and all these people, and I was like, I'm gonna do everything I can to look as out like I don't want them to know, or I don't want them to think I'm one of them. So I wore these like old Harley boots and a spiked up leather jacket, and and I had cuts all over my face and a
Right.
hat pulled down on my head. But I didn't have anywhere else to go. So they took me into this church, and everybody that was there had on like leather jackets and motorcycle boots. I was like, shit, I look like I fit in.
That's the best part. Yeah. You try your darndest not to fit in, and all of a sudden you do fit in.
Totally, totally. But I sat there, and and it was a typical church thing, but the pastor got up and he gave an opportunity for people to answer what we call an altar call back where I'm
Altar
from.
call. Yep.
And I was a DJ. I was a professional DJ. Like I worked in nightclubs for
Mm.
15 years. Big nightclubs, 1,000 to 5,000 people on weekends, and ran some big shows, all that stuff. So I knew how to move people. I knew how to motivate people. And I see this guy up on the stage, and I'm just thinking he's full of crap because he's doing all the things that I would do if I was DJing there, right? He's motivating the crowd and everything. But in this moment, it's like everybody had their head bowed, their eye closed, whatever. And he's saying, I don't want to embarrass you. I just want to pray with you. And I was so broken. I'm like, man, I don't believe any of this crap, but I'm going to give it a try. And made a decision to raise my hand. But it wasn't, people talk about giving your life to Jesus. I was not giving my life to anybody. I decided to give this 30 days just to really try to see what it meant to be a clean human being. And I don't know what being a Christian meant, but I was going to try that for 30 days. And worst case scenario, it's all a line of crap, right?
Right.
And I get
And
to the
you
other
got
side.
30 days. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Ooh, I got 30 days. Now let's go try something different.
Go try the other thing, right? Yeah.
Right.
So that was my approach. And but in that moment, and I bring all this up to say that I had this realization that I had been such a liar about everything. And I think secretly I was looking for a way to change that. But in that moment, I thought, man, considering I don't believe anything about this Christianity crap, the only way I could do this is if I do it honestly and authentically. And I'm not going to subscribe to I'm not going to be a lemming. I'm not going to do what everybody else is doing. I'm going to really investigate this and try it my best. And I'm going to be honest about everything that's happening to me. It felt like such a revelatory commitment at that moment. And I look back on it, and it was a defining, it was a line in the sand. I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm not going to be fake anymore. And that was scary as hell, So
years of masking, years of being people, something, trying to fit in, trying to be people that we didn't like in the first place, and years of it, and then just to stop it and try something different. Not only is that, I don't know, I know the feeling, but it's hard. It's scary, especially when we don't know ourselves well enough to know what everybody else is thinking about us too. And that's the biggest part right there, is what is everybody else thinking about me?
Totally. Yeah. And that's especially when you're in that space, right? You're at the bottom of the bottom, you're scraping bottom, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try to be real in this space, but what does that look like? And and I remember very specifically having conversations shortly after that day where I would be reminded inside of my heart about, okay, you're going to be authentic here. You're going to be real. And somebody would ask a question. It's like, oh shit, I'm going to be honest.
Oh man, now I got to tell the truth.
So, okay, here it is. Here's how I honestly feel. And then the reaction, even if they didn't like it, was so much less than I thought it would have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I've been avoiding this for
Yeah.
40 years or whatever. After I get 32 years, and and here it's like, wow, this is not so bad. So I, in natural addict form, went to the polar opposite and became massively radically authentic about everything that I did.
Which is, good, but it's also terrible.
Totally.
I'm telling you, going for that experience for me is like you do everything backwards and then do it
Mhm.
to the other way. It's like, oh my God, it's just weird. Let's just say weird. We are a bunch of weirdos
We are.
living in a weird ass world,
Mhm.
trying to do the best that we can, but yet going from one opposite to the next, that pendulum swing is crazy.
And it's so. I mean, I've been clean 21 years, and I still do it. I mean, I still find that I'm doing something I don't like. I'm going to go to the complete opposite world or into the world on that thing. So I think it's just part of our personalities, and we have to work through it.
It
You know,
is.
but
And that's the best thing, to be able to be clear headed to do that is where it starts, though. And honestly, if we're not clear headed and if we're not thinking clearly and we're still making those same decisions, what's it really benefiting us? It's not,
right, totally,
you know. So
yeah,
we got to get sober. We all get sober one way or another. All of us are going to stop one way or another, whether
yeah.
that's 6 feet underground or 6 feet above ground is, up to you.
It totally is, and the thing, I was thinking this morning as I was taking a shower, I was thinking about this podcast and what just trying to put myself back in those shoes. I remember that space of being so afraid of the life I couldn't visualize, and that was the life that didn't involve me waking and baking every day, you know, drinking, doing meth, doing coke, all the good. I say all the good stuff. You know what I mean? It,
Yeah.
I didn't really have a drug of choice. My drug of choice was disconnection. So I was always looking for a different way to disconnect.
Yeah.
And to even like fantasize about a world where that wasn't a possibility scared the hell out of me. And to think, God, so I remember that. And now when I talk to addicts, when I talk to people that are still on that other side, I try to really just point out, hey, I know where you're at. I know this feeling. You have zero vision for what your
Mhm.
life could look like if you don't wake up and drink or you don't wake up and smoke or whatever the thing is. But I got to tell you, it's a hell of a lot better than what you're afraid of. And you get to make it into whatever you want it to be.
Yep. And just think, if you really don't like it that much, you can always go back the other way.
It's true.
If you really hate life like this, then you can always choose a different path,
Yeah,
whatever path that may choose. And at the end of the day, you just got to do what's best for you, you know? And
100%.
so that's, I find a lot of people judge addicts.
Mm,
And there's, I mean, from the street, because they don't know. We never started out as an addict. We never started doing something, say, hey, yeah, let's become an addict today. I'm going to
right.
try this and get addicted to something that's going to take everything from me and ruin my life. Yes, please. We never start out that way, and that's the sad fact is a lot of people just don't know that. It's like, just stop. Just
Mm,
stop. You know, you can't. You can't because after being an addict for so long, you get this sense of shame, this sense of self-worth, that this sense of this is all life is for me, is
mhm.
this going and searching for this drug to keep me normal. And nobody likes the real me because let's face it, I didn't even know the real me. So I know
No,
I didn't like the real me, you
right.
know, and so that keeps a lot of people in addiction, just that self-judgment and the fear of what other people are thinking, you know.
Yeah, totally. I feel you. I remember very boldly in that first month, really. There was like amazing to me how much my life changed quickly. But it was, I mean,
Mm.
but I had a really fortunate situation in that I completely changed my environment, which is one of the most important things you can do anyway if you're trying to change an addictive pattern. But I completely changed my environment. I started going to this church, and it's hilarious to tell these stories because I mean, here I was. I was a pretty rough dude. And and these old ladies, these like old church ladies,
Oh my
would be around
God.
me while I'm dropping F-bombs and telling dirty jokes and playing bad music, and they loved me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I was like, what?
And
I
it's
think I
always
was
that one old lady that was like, "Hey, my mom is watching this probably right now, and
my mom.
her friend Judy is that old church lady, and so is my mom. But her friend Judy's that old church lady that she's like so excited to see me there. I'm like, I don't even like being here all the time, but I show up all the time.
Right.
And then all of her other old lady friends, they're like, hey, Jay. I'm like, hey, where's the coffee?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just funny.
Well, it was, in that first month for me, I didn't tell anybody what was happening because I was, just like you said, I was afraid of what they would be saying about me.
Mhm.
It sounds like you can relate. You don't,
Oh yeah.
especially when
Now I
you've
don't
been
care. Now
totally.
I'm totally like a blank sheet of paper, a clear sheet of paper. I tell everybody. It's like, oh, why? Oh yeah, I was an addict. I'm a recovering addict. I don't fucking care. You know, and it's not for shock value or anything. It's just because there's no reason to hide that no more for me.
No.
None.
Well, it was, and so okay. So that first month, I hit it like crazy, and then
Yes.
I went and asked the pastor every day questions, and finally he asked me out to coffee because he's like, something's different about you. And as I told him the story of what had happened to me and how I came to the church, he was astounded, overwhelmed with how, I mean, it's a big story. So that night, he invited me to the stage, and it's funny because I feel comfortable on stage. Not everybody does, but to me, it felt like he kind of maybe understood me a little bit, and he
Right.
and he gave me an opportunity. He said, "Could you tell part of your story?" And he told me like where to start it and where to finish it. What it said to me at the moment was, "Wow, he listened. He
Right.
actually heard the details." He was the first person I told this to. So now I stood in front of a crowd of about, I don't know, 150 people, 200 people, and I was like, "Holy crap, I'm getting ready to like be really real in front of all these people." And I stood up there, and I remember very, very vividly. The lights were in my eyes. I couldn't see anybody. I'm crying. I'm embarrassed. I'm horrified, but I got nothing but the reality and the truth to hang on to. So I just told the story. And afterwards, he prayed over me. It was really cool. But I walked down to go back to my seat. And as the lights kind of came up out of my eyes, I saw this room. Oh, man, it still gets me, of people all crying with me.
Mm.
And I suddenly had about 200 new friends who
Yeah.
totally loved me. And
Yep.
they like took me in. And I mean, it really massively changed my life. And that was, for me, the revelation. And I kept seeing this, everything that I saw that you've been writing and reading, and like some of your other episodes, that it was like the awakening for me was that once I started living my life for somebody other than me, once I started sharing this story, all of a sudden it all made sense. And it wasn't about, oh, poor Scott made these stupid decisions and what an idiot he is. It was, wow, I can take this story and I can turn it into something that helps people.
Yeah.
And that is, for at least for me, it was a groundbreaking, life-changing moment. And I, just like you, started sharing it everywhere I went.
Yeah.
Telling waitresses, I mean, anybody that
Yeah.
would listen to me.
I embarrass my mom whenever we go out and somebody asks, "Oh, yeah, I'm a drug addict. I'm an ex-drug addict. I'm an ex-felon. I'm an ex-drug addict. I'm all those things that you warned your kids about. That's me." You
Totally.
know? And my mom's like, "Jay, don't do that. You do this all the time to me." I'm like, "Hey, they asked, They asked. I'm telling them. There's no I'm not ashamed of it no more.
Right.
So why is it there to haunt me? It's not there to scare me. It's not there to keep me in a spot. It's there because I'm meant to be there. Maybe they needed to hear that. Maybe they
Totally.
have somebody that's going through that they one of their family members, brother, sister, mother, father, son, daughter, whatever, that's going through the same situation. And so it's a big, huge community. That's all it is. Because if you keep it to yourself, nobody's going to know you've got some information maybe that was going to help somebody else. Can't do that.
And
Can't
the
do it.
odds of your success are much smaller too,
Yeah.
I mean, we can't just be alone in this space. I mean, I know where that takes me. You know where that takes you.
Yeah.
You know, we got to be together, or we're gonna go places we don't want to go.
Yeah. And you know what? Inside of our heads, some of the scariest places. You
Yeah.
know, when we get stuck in the head, unless I've got like 3 friends and they've got a safety plan and like life ropes and rafts and stuff to get out, we're not going.
Right.
You
Totally.
know,
Yeah.
it's true. You know, you don't want to be stuck in your own head. And sometimes, even in that, even doing this sober recovery thing, you know, you get sometimes one intrusive thought will be like, oh, okay, back. How do you get back? You know, and this is how I get back: talking to people, being open with people, being able to connect with people. Because you know, I didn't overdose. I've never experienced an overdose.
Hmm.
I used to overdose meth on purpose to go to sleep,
Mm. Oh yeah. Wow.
and I was an IV user.
Mm.
So I would do two huge big old blasts right back to back, and I'd be up for like 10 minutes and then pass out for a few hours and then wake up high as fuck. And that's how I used to sleep. And that life took a lot from me. I mean,
Yeah.
the reason I got clean is because I found my wife hanging in our closet. That's my recovery day too. That's my sober date that day, you know, and having to cut her out and do all this other thing, and then having this big, huge argument with God, like the day after, the next day, I'm yelling at him after he doesn't let me do the same thing. I'm yelling at him, and I'm like, "You sob!" I was mad. I was mad, and you know, I've let that anger, you know, drive me a lot. But I've also come to the realization that everything happens for a reason. I have to be real accepting. And, you know, that's the hardest thing, is to have to accept that it didn't happen to me or because of me. It just happened. It was just
Mm.
something that was going to happen. There's no stopping it. There was no anything else about it. It was going to happen that day or another day. And it just happened to happen that day, you know, and it did change my life. Literally, I got out of that place a month later. I moved from Colorado, well, one town in Colorado to the next, and then to Florida. And I had to, or else I'd be back in this stuff again, you know, I'm
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
you know.
Let me first of all just say I'm so sorry.
So am I. So am I.
Yeah. What a horrible thing to endure, and it kept as you were talking about the anger, it made me think. I mean, I know you still have to feel that.
Oh, I do. I do.
What do you do with it?
I talk to people. You know, that's the main part of my anger. I talk to God a lot.
Good.
And the main part of my anger dissipates if I can be angry and yell at myself in a mirror and there's a valid reason for me to be angry, then I stay angry. If there's not, if it's just like a guilt, if it's just like something I couldn't control anyway, the anger goes away.
How long does that take? I'm just curious.
Depends on what kind of anger it is, you
Mhm.
know. Uh, Anger at situations, I can't control that. So that dissipates pretty easy. You
Sure.
know, anger at myself stays because I'm angry at myself, you know, and anger at God, we work it out.
Mm.
We've got a decent relationship. I work it out, you know. It's like, oh, yeah, well, check this out, you know, and it just happens to work. I don't know. Maybe I, while I'm off of the drugs, it helps not to be angry. I don't know. I'm just becoming, I can deal with it now when I wouldn't be able to deal with it before. See, for me, anger was a source of survival when I was in
Right.
prison, when I was on the streets, uh, when I was in my worst active addiction. Anger was survival for me.
Totally.
So it's very easy to get angry and then stay angry and then do things while I was angry. So I make it an effort. If I'm mad or angry, I've got to let it go because it's a control method and nothing is going to control me anymore like that.
Hmm.
I will not let my anger control me. I will not let somebody else's get me angry to control me. I will not let somebody control me through anger.
Good for you, bro. That's huge. I think I've heard it said that anger is the it's like the magnification of fear, right?
Yeah.
And and I know when I'm feeling it, I'm like trying to think about some current situations I'm in. I got 2 kids, 8 and 10, 2 boys, and they piss me off all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
but but the anger I feel then is generally pretty it's pretty shallow, right? It's
Right.
lack of control, whatever. But the times that I feel the angriest are the times when I've let myself down, and I wish I could say that that never happens, but it happens a lot. Well, a lot maybe isn't fair either, but when it happens, um, that anger, the worst for me is that it's almost suppressed anger, and it comes
Right.
out as shame
Oof.
and like massive, like negative self-talk,
Yeah.
totally internal that nobody hears. That I walk around in that space, and the only way I could get out of it at all is to literally dump it. I have to dump it
Right.
in front of somebody, and I have this theory that it's like shining light on shadows, right? So,
Absolutely.
the only way I could shine light on it is to talk about it, and sometimes that makes people really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, you gotta have some certain people that you can trust. That I've
Right.
got a best friend. Her name is Jamie, and I don't know if she ever listens to my podcast or not. I've told her about it. She does. I know she does.
We'll
But
say, "Hi, Jamie."
yeah, literally,
Yeah.
that is literally my best friend. And she knew my wife. She knows me, and I can tell her whatever I need to tell her. I can be mad at the world, and she's the one that's like, "Yeah, what do we need to do? Who are we burying? Where? Which car?" But
Totally.
at the same time, she can do the same back to me and tell me how her day's going, and we can just be friends.
Yeah.
And it's a total 100% connection that is there that we both use to our benefit, and it benefits us both because we can release that anger, release that hatred against the world and laugh about it.
Yeah.
We laugh at the most random, stupid stuff and we enjoy it, because you know what? We're not going to let anger win. I'm not going to let anger win. It won for the first 90% of my life. Not going to
Right.
let it win no more. If I can't control it, somebody's reaction, as long as I'm going in and I'm doing the right thing and my intentions are to not cause harm or intentional harm to somebody, I know I'm in the right.
Yeah.
How they choose to react is not going to control what I do next.
Oh, man. That's good. Yeah. We get to define how we respond, not how other
Yeah.
people react, right? Yeah.
We get the choice to choose how we engage with people now.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's really good. So, I mean, you said you were about 18 months in, is that right?
Yeah, December will be 18. So it's like 16 right now. Something like
Nice.
that.
So, I mean, how do you get through, like, you feel like you're flourishing? You sure seem like you are.
I don't think I'm flourishing, honestly.
All right.
On I'll be honest, I hate that I'm not more productive.
Mm.
That's just me saying, "Hey, Jason, you're doing something wrong," which I know I'm not. I know it takes time. Everybody says it takes time. I'm not one of those time like people. When I want it now. Instant gratification. Let's go. You know,
High
but
five, brother. Me too.
yes. Instant gratification. I want it. I want it now. I
Yeah.
want to work for it. Yes. But you know what? Good things come to those who wait, you know? And if I've waited 40 something years for this person, why can't I wait another 40 years if I've got it in me? I
Yeah.
can. I can. And
Yeah.
I know as long as I'm going down the right path, I know as long as I'm not pushing back at my higher power, Jesus Christ, then he's leading me in the right path. Even if he doesn't answer all my prayers, that means it's his protection. Unanswered prayers are God's protection. Answered prayers are God's direction.
Mm.
It's planned, and they, they get answered in some of the worst, terrible times ever. But you know what? I'm thankful for them all, even the small ones.
Dude, I got to tell you this story. It just reminded me of it. It's kind of funny. I was in that spirit. That's probably 6 months in, maybe a little less than that. And still looking for person that I could to tell this story to. But,
Right.
it's great. So I'm at work and I answer the phone and some guy like calls and I'm like whispering through the phone. Yeah, I just gave my life to Jesus like 90 days ago. And you could tell, he's like, okay.
Why are you whispering it? Okay, good for you. Yeah, okay.
So he said, maybe we should go to lunch and you can tell me about it, blah, blah, blah. And I totally took him up on it. And as I'm driving to go meet this guy for lunch, I'll never forget this. Driving to this restaurant, I turn and the light, like the sun is hitting a shiny building and it comes into the windshield of my car and pop the windshield, the visor down, and a baggie of cocaine, just a little bit in the bottom, falls out. And of course I kept my drugs up there, right? But dude, I've looked up there before. I mean, it should have. How
it should have fell out a long time ago.
Totally. So, but this little baggie of cocaine, just a little bit in the bottom, falls into my lap, and in an instant, I like throw it out the window. Which maybe probably wasn't the best thing.
I probably would have done the same.
But it was a panic. I get to the restaurant and I'm like going in and I haven't even met this guy. I'm like, dude, you'd never believe this. A bag of cocaine just fell in my lap as I was driving, and he's like, whoa. So I sat down to lunch with him, and he ended up becoming a great friend. But as I told him the story of how I had come to faith and gotten off drugs and all this stuff, and that this bag of cocaine had fallen in my lap, I'm sitting here saying to him, bro, that's the devil. That's the enemy trying to put drugs in my life. Yes. And he said, it just blew my mind. He said, well, could be. Is there any chance that God's trying to show you that they don't have power over you anymore?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. I mean, this is an amazing revelation to think that, wow, my life is that different that when drugs fell in my lap, I threw them out the window. I'm actually not that person anymore. Right. It's like, wow, this is a powerful, powerful thing. So it just made me think of that when you said, the dreams that, or the prayers that God doesn't answer is when he's protecting you, and the ones that he does is when he's directing you. And I feel like that was one of those moments where he was both protecting and directing. And whether it was the enemy or not, I mean,
and even testing, because he says he's going to test us all the dang time.
Totally.
So you know what? I expect tests, and I'm probably failed, not exactly. I'm passed, but not exactly the way he's wanted to, and it's going to happen. I'm prepared for it when it does happen. I've gone through the worst possible situation that I could ever go through.
Right.
Ever in life go through. And instead of blasting myself off to the moon, I decided to get sober. And not saying I didn't have the drugs and the equipment there to get high, because I did. Right. I did. In fact, I was waiting for the cops and the paramedics to leave so I could go do it. I walk in my house and I can't go into my room where it's at because all I see is the picture of my wife hanging in my closet. I couldn't go into the room. And I'm like, well, this sucks. And that's when I decided to quit. When I realized I had it there and I couldn't get back to it because of what I just seen and what just happened, that's when I quit. That's when the drugs had no more hold over me. Literally, when I say I sat in prison and used to pray to have my addiction taken from me, to have all my wife's, problems go away, to be the man that she thought I could be, the man that my kids could look up to, all these, that my wife doesn't struggle, doesn't hurt. She also had depression. She was going through a lot of shit. I put her through a lot of shit. And all those I had to realize that, during my life, I wasn't putting in anything. And even if he did answer some of them, I wasn't listening. I wasn't
Right.
paying attention because I was always fucked up.
Mm.
And he answered all my prayers in one day, the only way he could, the
Right.
only way that I would pay attention to it. And he did it in one swift final, that's it. You're done, Jason. I cut you off. Try it.
Mm.
Here's your prayers. Deal with it. You asked for it. And when I realized that, I realized I've not had one craving, not one. Through the last year and almost a half, I have not craved that drug one time, not one. And it's not because I'm in some super recovery program. No, it's because I'm recovered by God.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen.
And that's it, you know? And so it's just crazy that for me to not want to go get high for nobody thought I can make it 2 days. I didn't think I could make it 2 days.
Totally.
I didn't think I could make it 2 days. To hell with everybody, what everybody else thought. I could care less what they thought. Nobody's seen me sober and clean for the last 20 years,
Right.
back to back. 2 days in a row, back to back. Nobody has seen me clean or sober in the last 20 years.
Wow.
And to go from that to absolutely zero in less than 24 hours and then not crave it. I'm not saying I haven't had I've had one using dream and it scared the shit out of me because I know I went to sleep not fucked up. And then I woke up in the middle of the night looking for holes in my arms. Where's the needle? Where's the blood? Where's something? Because I know I'm high right now. And then having to calm down enough to realize, like, wait a minute, you went to sleep. There's nothing in the house. You're good. That scared me.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, that one scared me. But everything else I've been able to deal with. Not the best at sometimes, and I still slide back sometimes to get that. It's like, instant. Oh wait, what am I doing? I don't have to do that no more. No,
Right.
and I get to live today for today because who knows if there's going to be a tomorrow. I've experienced the not going to be here tomorrow part.
Right.
And I'm not going to live in the past because that's just going to keep me stuck in that hole. So
Yes, I do.
I experience today and I live today for this day. Whatever happens, it ends at midnight, and that's a new day to me. Whatever happens today, that happened yesterday when it comes to tomorrow. If that made any sense at all, whatever happens today doesn't happen tomorrow. Nope.
Right.
And that's the way I live now. So whatever comes my direction, I take it and I am thankful for it and I experience it today.
Dude, yeah, powerful.
It's the only way I can do it. Or else if I'm thinking about the future, I'm going to get so scared and so wrapped up in what I should be that I'm not going to be who I am right now.
Ain't that the truth, man?
It is.
You miss a step, right?
You do. You miss a whole bunch of steps, and then if I'm stuck in the past, thinking about the past, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to relive it until the past is now the present.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Nobody else wants that.
No, I've been down that road. I know where it goes. I don't want to be on it anymore. Yeah.
No. And that's my transformation, and I'm not scared. I like when people ask about it because even if you don't believe in your higher power, I do. I believe in mine, because he's always had my back. I only turned my back on him. He's never lost track of me. He always knew where I was at. He put me in prison to keep tracking me. He's always known where I was at. He's like, hey, once you quit doing stupid stuff, once you start listening to me, your life will get a whole lot easier. And it has. It has.
But isn't that the lie, though, that we live in on the other side, right? Is that we think that life is going to be so much harder when we're not using, when we're not hiding behind it all.
Yeah.
And it's such a lie, because
Oh,
that's hard.
it
Figuring out,
is.
remembering who you've lied to about what.
Man, trying to keep all those lies together. Man, if I didn't have a notebook, okay, what did I tell who to
Totally.
when, And it's like, I know I'm lying. They know I'm lying. Why am I even talking? Why not just don't answer the phone?
Totally. Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
uh, but it's crazy. And it's just how we do it. And as I think some addicts are the strongest people you'll ever meet because they've been through hell. They've experienced it. And if they're clean and sober and still doing the right thing, then they're out of it and they don't want to go back. Sometimes that becomes too much for them and they do relapse. They do. That fear of not wanting to relapse keeps it in the mind. And you know what? They relapse because it's ever there present. They're thinking about it all the time. They're thinking about not relapsing so much that they're thinking about it all the time. I don't think about it. I just know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school who who would drive to school every morning around this curve, and there was a neighbor that had put in a new mailbox, like a brick mailbox there, and she would talk about every time she drives by that thing, she's afraid she's going to hit it. Until one morning she finally did, because she was staring at it the whole way and drove right into the stupid thing. And it's the same thing for us, right? It's like if you're always fearing that relapse and that's all you're looking at, you're going to miss all the good stuff ahead of you, and you can't avoid it. So yeah, that's powerful, man.
It is. And it's just, it's how I do it. It's not for everybody. Don't do it the way I do it, please. If you're listening out there, don't do it the way I do it because it's hard. You got to find your own way to do it. Not saying that I won't support any way you can do it, but just don't do it the way I do it because you know what? I am not unique. I'm not a unique person. I struggle. Don't think that I don't struggle daily because I do struggle, not with an addiction, other life. I struggle in life, plain and simple. Just don't think everything's perfect all the time because all you do is see me on here on a screen with this big, huge sign that says recovery in the background. That's all you see of me.
Right.
That's the me I present to everybody else. And this is the me that everybody gets, whether they're in person or on the podcast. Literally, this is me now.
I feel that.
And it's just I don't like to show my highlights because what happens is others compare their lowlights to your highlights. And like I can never be that. I can never do that. I would never be able to do that. They get that mindset is like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that ever. And so I stay real humble.
That's good
about it.
I think one of the things that some of us do is we get in those situations where we compare our lowlights to other people's lowlights, and it's almost like a measuring contest to see who did the weirdest things. And I mean, there's a place for that, right? And there's a place to be able to talk about it, but at the same time, I don't want to be defined by my stupidest decisions.
No,
I got some bad ones, man.
I don't even like talking about, honestly. I remember every stupid thing that I've done. I remember all the harm and everything else I've caused. Do I regret it? No.
Now, did you 12-step, Jay?
I did not.
Me either.
I did not.
Yeah.
I find there's a lot of judgmental people in 12-step programs, no matter what 12-step program you are. I'm a big fan and a big supporter of 12-step programs. Don't get me wrong.
Me too, brother.
Yeah.
It's not my path.
It works. It works. I'm not knocking it. If it's working for that person, absolutely. Congratulations. Thank you. It works. Absolutely. But I have not 12-stepped and I don't think I ever will. I'm not shutting the door on it. I just don't think it's the right way for me because people will look at me like, well, how'd you do it? I'm like, well, no, only 12-steppers can say only the steps work The steps work for them. Yes.
Yeah.
They don't work for everybody. You know, there's a billion different ways to recover out there. And I've talked to a lot of founders of they founded their own method because the 12 step didn't work for them. And and what it comes down to is you got to find your own reason to continue not using and change your life. You got to find your reason. That's all it takes. Find your reason, work through your bullshit, and start living life. That's all it takes. You know your demons, face your demons. You know, you're never going to conquer your demons without somebody. I'm recovered through God. That's my recovery.
Yeah, amen.
Jesus Christ Recovery Program. JCRP. I'm going to put that on a wristband. JCRP.
I like it. I like it.
You know,
I hear you, man. Because I was thinking as you were talking about, you know, we've all got our different paths. It seems to me like something you and I share, at least, is that we both really surrendered that to like surrendered that control, that that temptation to a bigger power, a higher power. For me, you know, obviously God, Jesus. I didn't believe, and I'm still like, okay, if you think you can. In fact, my salvation prayer, it's pretty hilarious. The real one was that I said, you want this shit, you can have it. And that, and I was just talking about my life, and it's like, you want this shit, you can have it. I don't care. Yeah. And God met me in that space. And I mean, here we are 21 years later. And dude, I've done some crazy fun. I mean, my life since has been so much better, so much far superior. Yeah. I've been all over the world. I've done amazing things now. I never thought I could have done as much as I've done, and I couldn't have if I was still on drugs. No way.
Yep. You know, what's funny is people start trusting you again. They want to be around you again. And I'm like, why? I'm fucking fucked up still, you know, don't come around me. I might not like you, in fact. So why don't you stay over there? But it's not that way. It's like people want to, like, Jay, you want to come hang out? I'm like, no. You know, it's like, do I have to? Are you telling me or what? You know, and sometimes it's those doors that your presence is, it's not them asking you, it's somebody else asking you. And it's because you're meant to be someplace, whether that is for their benefit, for somebody else's benefit, who knows? But you're always meant to be where you're at on purpose. Always. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you're supposed to be. Don't fight it. Let it happen. I mean, silence is golden for a reason, because you can hear the thoughts that aren't yours in your head.
Well, that's powerful, man.
Yeah. You can. Yeah. If you're sitting in silence and you're listening to nothing, you'll hear the thoughts in your head that are not yours. Meditate.
Super powerful. Yeah.
You know, and I've, you know, like I said, I've done 20 years in prison. I've read the Bible front to back to front, countless times. I did a lot of time in the hole. I was not a nice person. I don't like to talk about those episodes because that's not me. And I don't like to remember that me, because that me, I had to be fucked up and be mean and be an asshole to people to survive. So I didn't like doing that. And do I regret any of it? I regret the physical harm that I've done to people. That's it. And I regret not being there for my kids when they needed me. That's it. Right. Everything else, I probably wouldn't change, because it would put me in a different spot. Amen. You know, I wouldn't be able to help the people that I can help now doing what I'm doing. So would I ever change anything about my past? Yes, I'd be there for my kids, and I wouldn't have caused the physical harm and damage to some people. Plain and simple. I regret those things. Everything else is my past. I don't care. I don't care.
My wife has never knew me when I was a drug user. We've been married for 12 years now. She's never done a drug in her life. And when we were first dating, I remember her asking me once or twice, do you wish that you hadn't, or do you regret, or something along those lines? I'm like, man, I don't regret a drop of it. No. And not that it was all that, because it wasn't. I mean, there were times that were fun, sure. But if I change any of that, then I can't be here. And that if that's what it took for me to get here, for me to meet my wife, for me to have the kids that I have now, the life that I have now, man, it was worth it.
Yeah.
And but we got to work through, just like you said, you got to work through your bullshit. You got to figure out those things that you're hiding from, that you're afraid of, and face them.
Yeah.
And that's some scary shit. But the
It
funny
really
thing
is.
is, as we get through it, right, that the things that we're afraid of are generally, they're just shadows on the wall compared to the reality of what is there.
Yeah.
And and it's so much better the moment you can take it on and be like, wow, that's my past. I can let that go. Whew.
Yeah. It's crazy that we are able to be present enough, be self-aware enough to know that our past does not have to hold us back.
Right. Right.
If you're letting your past hold you back, stop it. Stop letting things that you've experienced traumas, you've experienced pain, you've experienced bad things, but don't think that that's what life is anymore.
Right.
Don't think that all people or all life is like that. And start living your life, not just existing in whatever world you are existing in, because it's not living. Start living your life. Quit judging everybody else on your experiences, because you know what? It keeps you away from people that might want to help you.
Yeah, and you don't know what battles they're going through.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
everybody's good at putting on, well, not everybody, but most people are good at putting on a front.
Oh, yeah.
And when you can whittle away at that front a little bit, just by being authentic and being present and being real about our own shit, right?
Yeah.
Then other people have the freedom to talk about their shit, and then we can all be authentic together. And it's like, whoa, who would have thought, right?
It's true. And I get a lot of times, oh, you're faking it. You're not like that. Bullshit. I'm like this in person too. I don't care. I love the people that say you're just doing this because you're behind a screen and it's blah, blah. I was like, I wish you could meet me, because I am exactly this. I'm funnier in person, at least that, that's about it. Oh, yeah,
Dude,
just ask my mom, she says.
what I see, though, I see a dude who's fighting for his sobriety, who's fighting for the life that he wants, and who's fighting to help other people. And that, if I could hug you right now, I totally would. I very much respect what you're doing. I love the journey you're on, and I want to encourage you in every way I can, brother. You're doing great stuff. Don't listen to those guys.
I never do. I never do. I'm like, if you're thinking that about me, that means there's something you need to be looking about yourself at, because I know if I was thinking about like that to somebody else, then it'd be like, Jay, you're really screwed up. I'm like, why are you judging? Why are you judging these people, Jay? What's inside of you that makes them look better to you than you do? We're all on equal footing. Let's be real. When it comes down to it, we're all on equal footing. All of us. There's not one person more valuable than the next person on this planet. Not one. We're all equal.
You'll never meet another person in your life that Jesus didn't die for.
That's right. That's right.
That's mind-blowing, right?
Yep.
Especially that person you don't agree with, or that's saying the shit that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, it's hard.
That one's when somebody, I like, people ask me, well, what you really, if you really want my answer, it's probably not going to be the answer you really want to hear.
Right.
Or can you help me? I absolutely can, but not in the way you want me to. I'm not going to help you in the way you want me to. I'm not going to give you let you know what you want to hear. I am not that person.
No.
If you're looking for that person, go to a therapist and go to somewhere else, because I am not the person that's going to tell you what you want to hear, because that doesn't help anybody.
And I'm not going to make it gentle either. I'll give you the truth. And you may hate me for it, but I'm okay with that. Yeah.
I'm okay with you hating me, because I know it's just something else talking. I know it's just an inner demon that you have to work out. I'm okay with being hated. I will be the most hated person on America. I don't care about that, because you know what? That means I'm much loved somewhere else.
Right.
You know,
I mean, you're doing
and
something.
it's just crazy. It's just crazy the way that we can go through life, and especially as an addict, and then come out the other side and get clean and sober. And you know what? This is weird, but I found more people don't like me clean and sober that liked me as an addict. I'm like, huh, you would rather see me really fucked up? And the ones that don't, it's only because they're still in that addiction phase or getting sober phase or got something else going on. And I know that because anybody that's clean and sober is going to say, you're okay. Plain and simple. You're okay. And I don't, my friend circles I lost every single one of my contacts. Thank God.
Thank God. Yeah.
You know, it don't matter, you know, because they weren't supposed to be in my life other than to hold me back. If you're not in my life now, you're from my past, I subscribe to the FAFO of life. You know, fuck around with my sobriety or my mental health, and you'll find out where the door is really fast.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. You know.
Oh man. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Those are non-negotiable.
No. And you've got to see, here's the thing about surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals that want to see you succeed. Even if they're not succeeding, they want the best for you. Okay. They could be in a better position. They could be in more authority. They can be whatever. But if you ain't on equal footing, that means one person's always giving and one person's always taking, whether it be relationships, whether it be friendships, whatever else. The one person, if you're not on equal footing, then one person is always giving and one person is always taking.
Have you ever found yourself in that position where you realize you're the one that's always taking?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I need to
that
elevate
feeling.
my game. You know, I need
Totally.
to jump up my game. I need to get out of this. Level up. Where's Mario? I need to big power, invincible mushroom, whatever, you know. Yeah, because if you're always taking, then you know what? You're not working for something. You're not putting effort into it because this person's always giving. That means you're always taking.
And I want to contribute too. You know, I want to contribute not just to their life, but to other people's lives.
Yes.
I want to give. And if I find myself in that imbalance, especially where I'm the one, and I mean, it's happened even recently where I have to say, hang on a second. I feel like I'm the only one receiving any benefit here. How can I help you?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? And I think people are often shocked by that, you know,
right.
But if we let that imbalance happen, then you're totally right. It puts us in a bad place.
Yeah. And as an addict, that's what we wanted, though. We wanted people just to give because we were entitled and we're addicts. So please give me so I can take it, you know, offer it so I can say yes, please, you know. And now it's the other way around. It's like, I don't want it. If I can turn it down, I will, you know, or if I can work for it, I will, or if, you know, let's trade, let's barter, let's do something so we get more back on equal footing, even though sometimes you'll never be on equal footing. And this person is just a giving individual, you know,
but just to give back a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Or even just calling it out and saying, I recognize that I'm receiving far more than you are. I'd like to give more. And they're like, no, you're good. Then that alone changes that balance, right?
Right. As long as you recognize it and you're not just on the take, you know, as long as you can see the imbalance and say, hey, is there anything I can do to whatever to balance this out? And if they say no, everything's good, and they do it just because they have a giving nature, then thank you. I really do appreciate that. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
100%.
You know,
100%. Well, bro, we've gotten through almost an hour. I haven't even mentioned my book.
I know. You're gonna have to come back on the show. We're gonna have to schedule another one, episode 2. I'm telling you, because I enjoyed this conversation and this dialogue so much. I feel like you're a freaking 20-year friend I've known for like ever already, and that's really honestly how I feel, you know. And yeah, we're gonna have to schedule an episode 2. Let's do it for like after my birthday sometime, so we can talk about your book and everything that's going on in your life.
It's all good. I
Man,
feel like this conversation, this is what a lot of people need to hear this kind of stuff. And like you, I totally felt a kinship, and it feels like we've traveled some of the same roads,
yeah,
and it's always good to get around someone who's fighting similar battles, and we can fight them together. And I just want to encourage you that, I know you've got friends, but you've got another one now that you didn't have
yeah,
before, that
I
when the shit's
appreciate that.
hitting, the cards are falling, you got somebody you can call. So
Right on. I appreciate that. And don't think that's a one-way street, because the door's always
I don't.
open.
I believe it, bro. I believe it. I believe it.
uh, and even if I never take advantage of it, I hope and encourage other people to take advantage of that. For me, if I may never reach out and I may never need the help, at least in my eyes, but when I do, I'm glad I've got another person that I can talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the secret, right? We
It
just
is.
can't do it alone. Yeah.
It is.
Good. Good.
Well, Scott, plug your book real quick.
Well, I will. It's called A Row with Two Chairs, and really, we do need to talk about it because I think you dig it. A Row with Two Chairs. The subtitle is "Creating a Life Worth Saving," and it's about that. I had the day that I gave my life to Jesus, my 30 days to Jesus. I sat in a row with two chairs, and I found that row because I didn't want to be near anybody, and made that decision to follow whatever this meant, this Christianity thing, for 30 days, and now it's 21 years almost that I've been on this same journey. I've traveled all over the world. I moved to Paris as a missionary and helped start a church in France.
Wow.
We did one in Switzerland, moved to LA to start a church here. I mean, really done some cool things, but the reality of it all for me was that I wanted to approach this book. Let me back up for just. I wrote the book for my kids because I figured my kids would never know the truth if I didn't tell them. And I needed it to be as real and honest as it possibly could. And that meant owning the things that I didn't believe about Christianity and faith, and really talking through the journey of learning what it means to walk as a believer. And sometimes that means hitting your head up against some of the bullshit religion that is in our world right now, and finding not a home there, but a home in other places, and figuring out what it meant to walk with God.
Right.
So I want to send you a copy. So when we're, we'll exchange some information. I'd love to send you a copy. I think you would really dig it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what we've talked about here, just that overdose, that time, that's just chapter 1. It's 37 chapters long, and it's really about this journey of learning what it means to be human again, and learning what it means to love other people and to invest in other people. And and I'm going to give a little bit away and talk. The ending is really about understanding that, and you already said it, man. You already said it, that God, I was trying to create a life that was worth saving because I didn't feel like I was worth anything. And it took me 10 years to come to a reality that I was always worth saving, that God was always there, and he always had a hold of me. And it wasn't until I turned around and embraced him back that things changed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's my everything now. I want to tell that story in as many places as I can. And I appreciate you taking some time out of your podcast to let me talk about it today. It's a big deal. And we live by our stories now, right? It doesn't define who we are. It defines who we were. And it talks about the journey and the blessing of what we've become. So
that's right. Our past does not define us. It does not define our future. It made us strong enough to go through whatever we're going through. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It forged us. That's the honest truth. And you know what? Like steel, we've all got to be run through the fire. We got to be tempered. It's a tempering phase. And sometimes it's longer and hotter than others, but we've all been through the fire.
I was a stubborn son of a bitch. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Oh, I was hard-headed. You can ask anybody that knows me. My family will tell you who's the most hard-headed? Jay.
I can see your mom nodding over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, I appreciate it. And you are going to have to come on here on another episode because, and if you haven't, look up Pete versus Anxiety. I'll tell him about you too. You're a real good friend of mine. He'll get you on the show. He's awesome podcaster. He's got a big platform and he would love, you know what? I'm texting him right now about you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. No, because we talk about it all the time.
I was just listening to Mr. Whiskey.
Oh, Mr. Whiskey's awesome. Couple of nukes. He's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, he just texted me. Why did he text me? Okay. Awesome. Huh. And then Jasmine Bottle. She's really good. There's a couple of really, really good people that would love to have you on their show. And Mr. Whiskey's one of them. He's awesome too. Everybody I've met is beyond incredible. You know, there's not one. They've been a couple of iffy guests, but still, people are people. And I think all the connections that I'm making now are beyond my expectations. Let's just put it that way. I never expected this type of life. I've never expected to do this type of thing, to be able to touch and reach so many people that people want to talk to me. Never expected that. Never. In my wildest dreams, I'm living out my wildest dreams right now.
Amen,
and sometimes I don't even realize it because they don't feel like dreams all the time, but they are to me, you know, because I never had this, never would have thought this at all in my life. Never.
And it's just beginning, man.
Oh, I know. That's the, you know, and I can feel it, you know, and that's the thing is I can feel it. And other people around me sense it. And it's like, Jay, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's like, okay, then why do I keep trying to change what I'm doing all the time? You know, just keep doing what you're doing. That's all you got to do. Just keep doing what you're doing. And okay.
I'm going to receive that, man. I need to hear that for myself because I'm also constantly trying to tweak and adjust.
Yeah. And, it's like, what can I be doing better? But if I was meant to be doing better, then I'd be doing something different. And that's not what I'm meant to do.
All right. I got to tell you this one thing. So I
absolutely.
Do we have another minute or two?
Yeah.
So I got a really crazy opportunity to go to a men's retreat in Colorado when I was
that's where I'm from.
4 months sober.
Okay.
And I'd never been to a men's retreat. I'd never been to anything. And so I go to this men's retreat and I get there and I'm around a bunch of Christians, which totally freaked me out. And and I thought this is going to be the lamest thing I've ever, you know, but it's all like pastors and missionaries and all this shit. And we sat down for the first day of teaching and they're like throwing out all this intensely powerful spiritual warfare conversation. And I'm just writing notes as fast as I can. I'm not getting it. None of it is absorbing in my brain. And so they take our first break and I like find a counselor. Oh, and what we're supposed to do on this break is we're supposed to find forgiveness for the people that have hurt us or something like that. So I start freaking out because I'm the person that's hurt me. What do I do? How do I handle this? And I go find one of the leaders and I'm like, just blah, blah, like, what about this? What about this? What about this? And he stops me and he says, hold on a second. What's your name? Like, oh, my name's Scott.
No.
He said, hi, Scott. My name's Gary. Nice to meet you. And he said, I'm hearing everything you're saying, but let me ask you this. What is it you're afraid of? Because I hear fear in your voice. What are you afraid of? So I had to take a step or a breath and think for a second. And I said, I feel like I've been given this opportunity to be here and I'm going to miss it. I'm not going to be able to absorb what is being handed to me, and this gift of being in this moment is going to be all for naught, and I'm going to get left behind.
Oh.
And he stopped. He took a breath. He said, okay, Scott, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about all that God has done to get you here today. not just to this location, not just to this retreat, but to where you are in your life. Think about all that God's done, all the times that it didn't work and all the times that it finally did and how he got you here. And I'm like, okay, I'm sitting there with my eyes closed. Yeah, okay, okay. He says, now you got that in your mind? I said, yeah. He said, do you really think he's going to let you go?
Huh.
And it was like, oh. And it was this revelation for me. And it's what made me think of it. You just said it didn't require me to get it anymore. I wasn't the one that had to hang on. God had a hold of me. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And isn't it so uplifting and like the weight comes off your shoulders?
Totally.
Literally, the weight, you feel relieved, like a physical relief of weight lifting off your shoulders. And it's like,
100%.
oh my God, I can stand back up again. I can stand straight again. And
Totally.
I don't feel pressed down by all this other world bullshit, you know?
Yep.
And, you know, I'm a cusser. You know, but you don't feel it pressed down and on you anymore when you just let it go. Let it go. And it really does lift it off you. And it's so, if you've never experienced it, it's indescribable. And all I can say is, like, try carrying around a big sack of potatoes, two big sacks of potatoes on your shoulders, one on each shoulder, 40-pound sacks or concrete, you know, carry that around for a week and then drop it and see how it feels. It literally felt just like that. You know?
You nailed it. You were so right on. You have felt it before. It's obvious. And that,
yeah. And it's just so, it's like, I can stand. And literally that's what it was, because we all walk hunched over, like the weight of the world's pressing on us. And all of a sudden, I can stand, you know, and straight, you know, and be proud that I'm standing straight and be deserving that I'm standing straight. And guess what? I'm not hunched over no more. I'm not going to walk hunched over. My fucking head ain't pointed to the ground when I'm looking at it. I don't know where I'm walking. I'm walking straight.
Yeah. Amen. And straight up. Amen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I never look where I'm walking anymore. Physically, nope. I point myself in a direction, and you know, they say Jesus take the wheel. Well, he does, and he takes me to some awful weird places sometimes, but I am grateful for every single one of them.
Now I'm like, wait, there's a wheel?
Yeah.
I'm just looking around.
Hold on. It's like the Puppet Master.
Totally.
A marionette. I'm a marionette for real. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a marionette, you know?
Yeah. Me too, brother. Me too. Well, hey,
Scott,
Jay, thank you for the time, bro.
Absolutely. I'm going to end this live stream because I got one to jump right into that I just texted the person. Luckily, they were running late too, so I knew I had a couple minutes.
Good. Hey, thanks you, and we will do this again. I look forward to it.
Absolutely. Me too. And I really appreciate you coming up here and just listening to me talk for once instead of me listening to somebody else talk. But it was, see, this is what keeps me going right here.
Yeah.
This connection, this fellowship, that's what keeps me going.
Good.
Plain and it's simple.
Well, let's hope we can help some others too.
Absolutely. And that's Rock and Recovery for today. Tune in next time, because I'm going to have Scott again on this program. Me and him, Scott, round 2 coming up.
Looking forward.
All right,
Cheers,
Scott.
Jay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
You too, man.